Nicole Quinn is studied in communications from Westchester University. She obtained her paralegal certification at Widener Law Center, and she self-employs herself as a realtor. She was a Ron Paul delegate who went to St. Paul in November of 2008. And she is the founder of a group called the Females for Freedom, which men can also join as well. She had a passion to come and speak with everyone today about our veterans' health care.
Good afternoon, fellow patriots. Well, it looks like the government has awakened the sleeping giant. In case Nancy Pelosi is listening, I would like to let her know that we're not a bunch of Nazis. We're not racists. We're not part of a mob. And we don't work for the big insurance companies. We're just average, everyday Americans who believe in the principle of freedom. I'm here today to talk about the silent assault against our brave men and women who have served in our military. Many of our troops have already been deployed to Iraq for 2, 3, and even 4 tours of duty. High stress levels, exhaustion, and bearing witness to the horrors of war contribute to post-traumatic stress disorder. This disorder is a psychologically debilitating condition that can lead to depression, illness, violent behavior, intense nightmares, and even suicide. Additionally, depleted uranium, insufficient body armor, and infectious diseases are just a few of the health risks which accompany war. When these soldiers are finally relieved of their duties, they are left with an incompetent Veterans Administration system that provides substandard care and neglects many of their needs. In 2007, the Washington Post published a series of articles which addressed poor medical care that had occurred at the Walter Reed Army Medical Center. In one of their articles, we learned the unfortunate news that this was not a single incident. The initial investigation of the Walter Reed Army Medical Center brought national attention to the mistreatment of wounded outpatients. Stories of neglect and substandard care flooded in from soldiers, family members, veterans, doctors, and nurses working inside the system. They described depressing living conditions for outpatients at other military bases around the country, from Fort Lewis in Washington to Fort Dix in New Jersey. They told stories of callous responses to combat stress and a system ill-equipped to handle another generation of psychologically scarred vets. Veterans have experienced substandard conditions like mold, rodents, insects, and unsanitary environments. They experience improperly trained staff, lost paperwork, long waits for consultations. Some veterans have even been required to sign waivers that they understand the provided housing failed to meet minimal government standards. Some Vietnam veterans are now experiencing post-traumatic stress that has been triggered by images of the war in Iraq. They are flooding the VA system for help, and many are being turned away. According to Joe Davis, a spokesman for the Veterans of Foreign Wars, there have been backlogs of more than 860,000 medical claims and waiting times of up to a year for treatment. Officials expect the number of veterans on waiting lists to increase as the conflicts in Iraq and Afghanistan continue. Why is the government so willing to send our sons, daughters, husbands, and wives to war and not willing to offer them timely medical care for the wounds and illnesses resulting from their service? This is a disgrace. It is not only disrespectful, but puts them in serious danger. Vietnam Veterans Against the War and Iraq Veterans Against the War continue to work with veterans every day to help them as best they can. It is sad that these men and women must deal with the painful realities of a healthcare system that rejects them because it is underfunded, understaffed, and most importantly because it's being broken down and torn apart by a government that doesn't value our veterans. Many people say that government health care is the solution to our problems. However, many fail to see that we don't need to go very far to get a sample of how government health care really works. We have it in our country right now through the VA system, and it's not working so well. If the government can't properly take care of our veterans, how can we expect them to take proper care of the rest of us? If they have to cut services and ration care with this small percentage of the population, then how can we conclude we won't need a ration for the large majority of the population? The VA system is a test for government health care, and it has failed miserably.